Hello, everyone. My name is Cheese, and today we will be doing a tier ranking of The Amazing World of Gumball Season 3, Part 1, episodes 1 through 20. We're finally on to Season 3! I, I was so excited to revisit this season because I knew this one was a favorite of mine and a lot of nostalgic episodes and stuff. Because I believe that firmly that season two is kind of where everything takes off and kind of sets the pace for the rest of the series and into the new series. It's basically this is when shit goes down, and I'm like, I know there's so many iconic episodes here, and I'm excited to talk about them. If you haven't seen the rest of my videos in this series, there's a playlist on my channel, but we are just gonna get straight into this. So I'm just gonna quickly go over the tiers we have here, and if you've been here before, you may know what's gonna go on. So today we have four tiers. We got peak, great, good, and meh. That's all you gotta know. But let's get straight into the first episode, which we're already starting off strong with the kids. I would argue that this is probably one of the most iconic episodes of the series. At least I see this be talked about more often outside of the fandom. And obviously for good reason because even though I wasn't there to see season 3 as it was airing, but I still understood the significance of this episode even though I hadn't seen it as it was airing, because this is the first time ever. The thing is, when this came out, this was low-key revolutionary because I don't think any other cartoon basically got this meta where it addresses the Asian voice actors and how their voices change through puberty, and after a certain point it's you have to have someone else do it to make them sound like kids. Because as we all know, Gumball and Darwin are always voiced by real kids, and as they age, they have to be replaced because their voices would sound too mature for the characters. I think there's four different pairs of voice actors into the new series. Yeah, so this is the first time that it is addressed, and it's just cool. This is just genuinely a cool concept where, again, kind of getting into the meta of the series where they if they both address how they change, but they also don't change, because as we know, they're once their voices reset at the end of the episode, and they figured out then that they are the one quote the 1% of the population that doesn't age, usually people on TV. You know? So it's just cool. And I think specifically, because this is unique to this episode, is Gumball's voice specifically. Like, the time between season 2 ending and this episode was probably enough time for his voice to really change, because this is the literally the only episode where he sounds like that. It kind of itches my brain a bit because I kind of love his voice in this episode because it's just kind of weird. I understood, but I didn't really understand fully until I really saw it again, was how much of this episode is taken up by the song. Because I think the song is what this episode is probably most remembered for. And it's a good song, the sequences with the different animation and stuff. It's genuinely such a good Gumball song, but I just forgot how much of the episode it took up. It's not a bad thing, because the song does provide a lot of storytelling and the themes of that carry this episode, but I just didn't realize this took up a third of the episode is that specific song. But that's fine. And also this theme of basically going through puberty, because that's what they kind of experience in the right up until the very end, where they're basically coping with the fact that their voices are changing and they can't like control it, and it's just we know how it is. But I feel like the way they do it is like kind of funny because specifically the scene where Gumball is like trying to call Penny, but like then Patrick picks up the phone and he thinks Gumball's like some creepy guy that's trying to talk to his daughter because his voice sounds weird. And he does like the whole like intimidating type of speech. It's like, I will find you. It's like, yeah, I like that. And it's like they're like freaking out because they go to the hospital to like figure out what's wrong with them, and the doctor's like trying so hard not to laugh. It's like, actually, this is completely normal, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they're still like crashing out because they think this is the end of the world, but everyone knows that it's like it's not that deep. But specifically the end, like the very end right before their voices change, when they have like that there's like technically two songs in this episode where they like have like the really deep voice and like singing this really melodramatic song about the loss of youth or whatever, and then it just instantly changes to them being normal again. The thing is, this episode is kind of it kind of explores a theme that I particularly like to think about, is kind of like how these characters technically don't age. Like, they will be 12 and 10 forever, but like mentally and emotionally they do change, but they are kind of like stuck in these bodies, as it's kind of directly implied at the very end where it's like we'll be young forever and we'll be stuck in these bodies forever, and they kind of like have an existential crisis about it a little bit. And it's kind of like their brains mature, but they're like more like their physical being doesn't. And that's like dark, but I absolutely love it. So, with all that being said, this is great. I know maybe some people would put this in peak, but I really like this. I like I like the execution. I like the kind of conversations it brings up, and like kind of like introducing some like different parts of the Gumball lore, like how the fact that they don't age really. I like this. I guess while we're on the topic of Gumball's voice changes, I'm gonna give you my ranking of my favorite Gumball voices. Cause for I say Gumball specifically because I think for Darwin, like his voice is pretty consistent. Like, yes, you can obviously tell like the difference between the voice actors, but I feel like Darwin's voice is one of the is probably the most consistent one. Cause like I feel like every actor can be able to like give the same energy. I don't know. But for Gumball, I feel like there's the most distinct differences between his voices. Because I think my favorite voice of Gumball is season two. Yes, I know, like, season one and season two is the same voice actor, but specifically for season two is my favorite Gumball. Like, I think what I enjoy most in Gumball's voice, at least what I think suits his character the best, is it's kind of like, I don't know what the word would be, but maybe a bit more raspy or deeper. I know definitely a deeper voice for Gumball because he needs to be like more distinct from Darwin. Because so my ranking for the Gumball voices is season two, then actually Wonderfully Weird. I absolutely love his voice in Wonderfully Weird. It felt like he never left, and I love that. And then season three and four, which is what we're looking at right now, because like the voice change felt nice, because yes, it's not as like raspy, I guess, as like season two. So like there is a distinct change, but I feel like season three and four Gumball, it still feels like him. Maybe just a little bit higher pitch, just a little bit. But then I'd say like second to like I think season one is my least favorite Gumball voice because it's too soft. Like it's like, oh, hi, I'm Gumball. It's like A soft, sweet voice just isn't Gumball. That's more Darwin. Which is why, like, second to last, I'd say season 5 and 6 Gumball, because I feel like his voice is a little bit too similar to Darwin, especially season 5 and 6 Darwin. Like, they just sound similar. But I feel like my favorite types of Gumball voices are where it's like he has a deeper voice that's a bit raspy. I feel like because he talks a lot, he would have a raspier voice than like Darwin. I don't know. But anyway, off on that tangent. Next, we have some type of shit. Ugh, I knew this was common, but this is an interesting one. The fan. I don't say we got some shit here as in like this is bad because I don't think this is bad at all. It's just this kind of like opened a new perspective about Sarah because I feel like what noticed a change in my feelings towards Sarah as a character. Not not even I guess not even her as a character. It's just how they write for Sarah. The situations they put Sarah in and the things she does and the way that the world treats her actions, okay? I know this is like right out of the gate we got some theories going on or whatever, but it's like the easiest way I can explain this is that my frontal lobe developed and I realized that Sarah needs to be locked up. Because when I was like a kid, when I was a teenager specifically, Sarah was one of my favorites. Like I loved this episode when I was younger because I loved Sarah because I just oh, she's so like me. She's so quirky because she's a fangirl that likes to do fandom things and she draws in a sketchbook and she likes to read comic books and shit like that. I kinned with Sarah just because of what she liked, you know? Because I was simply too young to understand the full breadth of the depravity that is Sarah Gelato, okay? And now I have a complicated relationship with Sarah, honestly. Because as a character, like as a standalone character kind of removed from her environment, she is so interesting. Like, she's just depraved, and I feel like she is depraved, but the show doesn't really fully get into the depths of her depravity. Cause it's not like this is a she's like quirky, like how I used to think she was. She's like, oh, she's just quirky and kind of crazy, but you know, it's all good. No. Mind you, this isn't even her first episode because, as we know, the sweaters from season 2 is technically her hard launch as like a reoccurring character. And I feel like, as I said in my previous video when I talked about that episode, is like it's a good introduction to Sarah because we don't understand her full depravity right out of the gate. We know she's kind of strange, but it's like it's not like this. And rewatching this, I'm like, is this perfectly executed? No, it's not. But I feel like this is such a complicated type of thing to be portrayed in specifically a kid show. Is like I don't know. Sarah fascinates me to no end. But this is the first episode where we basically her deep obsession with Gumball and Darwin starts. Yes, in the sweaters it can be like pretty clearly interpreted that she's like interested in them or like likes them a lot. But it is not to this level, specifically for the most famous scene in this episode, which is her song, which we do learn that it's a tape that she sets up for them to watch to basically. Why did she film herself do this? Is I have no fucking idea. Where it is revealed that she is basically a stalker. Like, she is a stalker, and this is how she is going to be portrayed for the rest of the series. Is that she stalks Gumball and Darwin. She films them when they're not looking, she follows them around, she breaks into their house, she knows all of the ways to basically follow them with her being undetected because as it is seen in that montage, she appears in different episodes where we couldn't see her, but apparently she was always there. And I think specifically what her most damning offenses are, just in this episode, we're not overall, that's a different conversation. In this episode specifically, her most criminal actions is her filming Gumball getting undressed through the window and breaking into their house while they're asleep. Yeah, I think those are her two, like, biggest offenses, even though literally everything else she does is a fucking crime, to be honest. Because the thing is, this is gonna continue to be an issue in, like, other Sarah episodes where it's like they never quite take her as seriously as she should be. And I'm not saying that, like, this has to be like a picture perfect type of situation over something like this. I'm not saying that because I'm not saying any type of representation of a certain thing has to be perfect. I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking in the way they're framing it makes it seem like she's less of a threat than she actually is. Specifically with their choice to, like, the kind of like the twist in, like, halfway through this episode, after it's basically after they realize that Sarah has been stalking them and after she's been, like, creepy towards them, like, in person, they see her drawings in her locker as she kind of plants this out to be, because I'm gonna get into this a little bit later, but I'm gonna finish my train of thought. Once they see her drawings in her locker, that and all that, and, like, they see her story and they choose to forgive her and, like, obviously act out the rest of the story as she wrote it to make her feel better by having, like, her prophecy come true or something, or whatever the fuck that was, but I think that's what they were trying to do. I just wonder if that's a good idea. Now, I would say in this episode, it is portrayed probably one of the best ways it has been, where it's like it's unserious. It's like both parties, both Gumball and Darwin and Sarah, are, like, acting out her fantasies in, like, an ironic way. It's like everyone's in on the joke that this is kind of ridiculous. So it's fine. It's, like, good fun. Nobody's being, like, actively creepy towards each other. Like, even Sarah is playing it up, even though this is. Because at first, if we can remember, when they first come to her with the idea of, like, basically acting out the rest of her story, she's like, "You don't have to do this, guys. I understand." It's like she didn't want to get involved in this at the start, but once they, like, convince her, like, playfully that she should, like, just go along with this, and they kind of, like, are on the same page for once of, like, this is kind of a joke. I think that's beautiful. Like, the whole climax scene where they're, like, fighting on the roof and being so, like, bad acting about it, I like that. And I think that was kind of what got me interested in Sarah's character, like, all those years ago. Is like, this episode is probably one of the best Sarah episodes, besides the shipping in, because I'm biased as hell, but you know what I mean. Is I like their dynamic here, but what I'm wondering is basically everything else, and specifically the choice to forgive her. To kind of. Is it forgiveness or is it pity? Because I think Gumball says, like, they're doing it out of pity. Which, I mean, that makes the most sense in this situation. But specifically when they're in the locker, okay, and Darwin's, like, looking at the drawings that she made, and he feels bad for her because she's lonely, and they're the only ones that she, like, is friends with. Are they friends? I don't know. But Darwin feels bad for her because she's sad and lonely, even though she films them. while they sleep. It's like, darling, my guy, I know you want to give people the benefit of the doubt, but we can't be doing this, bud. We can't be fucking doing this. It's just like, it's one of those things, like, it doesn't piss me off, really. It just makes me think, like, what are we doing? Like, it's basically, it's not even so much like, what are we doing? Because I see what they're doing. It's just like, what's the message you want to bring to the audience specifically? Because Gumball is one of those shows that does have, like, moral lessons and stuff in it, and, like, stuff to take away, so it's not like this means nothing. Because obviously, this means something. And I'm just wondering, it's like, does that mean we should excuse people who act like this? I don't know. It's just weird. But I kind of like it. That's why if I could make like a whole video essay thing just talking about Sarah and like her character development, I would love to do that because she is so interesting to me, especially how she like evolves throughout the years. But I feel like this is like the right balance of her being like semi self aware, but also creepy as fuck. It's like, you understand what I mean? Because I've said this in multiple videos, but she reminds me of Mole Man from Smile and Friends, and I will die on that hill because they're the same fucking person, in my opinion. But another thing that is just interesting is how Sarah seems to be aware of the state of the world. Because it is like a running joke in this episode that Sarah acts like she's in a sitcom TV show. And specifically, what makes me question, like, is she one of the few people that understands the state of the world? Is when she starts, like, humming the theme song at the end of the episode. And then Gumball's like, what are you doing? It's like Sarah seems to be aware of the state of the world. Because, okay, so we have, like, a handful of characters that understand this. Rob, obviously. Mr. Small, when I talk about the void, or if you we know what that is, and Sarah, I think. Gumball and Darwin both understand. Not as much as and Shady. Shady guy, obviously, but the thing is like is Sarah aware of the state of the world? Cuz I think she is in the way that she like exists kind of is just like makes me think she's probably on like Mr. Small's level of knowing about the world because obviously Rob knows the most. But I think second tier down is Mr. Small and Sarah. Because I think Sarah knows too much. And that's kind of why she's kind of unhinged. So yeah, there's just a lot to think about here, which is why, despite my issues with it, I still think it's great. I don't mind twisting my brain a bit about thinking about some of the choices they make here because it's like it's thing is this was like flawed from the start. Like again, this is the first episode where like they really introduced this plot. This was shaky from the start, so it's like it's not like they ruined anything really. It's just kind of like this is how it's always been. Okay, next we have the coach, which I don't care about. Okay. Meh. I don't dislike it. I just don't care. And I'm gonna tell you why I don't care. Because it's not even so much that I don't like the characters of the coach and Jamie. Because this is the first time both of those characters. Motorcycle, do you fucking mind? It's just I feel like the setup bothers me. I'm gonna tell you why this bothers me, because the continuity doesn't align with this. In the fact that, like, Gumball is portrayed as someone that doesn't exercise and is, like, so out of shape or whatever, and he's, like, trying to avoid going to gym class. But I say that's bullshit, because this guy runs, like, a 5K like every episode when he's like running away from something and he doesn't seem to break a sweat when he does that. It's just like it doesn't add up. Like yes, sure, maybe, But you can't tell me that, like, Gumball is just so out of shape that he, like, can't do a push up. When he, like, launches himself across the street and, like, runs down the road at, like, 100 miles an hour, it's like, the, it's basically the canon doesn't back this up in my head, and I say this is bullshit. Especially like the scene where it's like his body is like, oh my gosh, this body is exercising. What are we gonna do? We're not used to this. It's like, motherfucker, you cannot tell me. You cannot tell me this makes sense. I think Gumball should join the cross country team because I think he would do very well in that. But it's just that bothers me because it just doesn't add up, and I'm like, ugh. But I don't really mind like the whole thing where it's like Jamie kind of shows off as like being super athletic and stuff, and like they're kind of jealous of her, and like she's like besties with the coach, or so they think until they realize, oh my god, she's her mom. But something that I find a bit questionable actually is the whole thing of like they don't believe that the coach is a woman. Like that's the big shock. Oh, the big plot reveal is that the coach is a woman because she don't look like one or don't talk like one. And I'm like, your appearance doesn't have to match your like biological sex, and like gender expression can be any number of things. Like we know this. And I just feel like this being like a core part of the coach's character is just like she's not feminine enough to be a woman type of thing. Cause that's a joke in multiple episodes. Like she's like, oh, she can't be a woman. She's too manly. God forbids a woman be a butch. Be so fucking honest. It's just like that bothers me. I just don't like it. I straight up don't like it. It's like leave her alone. Just because she's like stocky and has like a deep voice doesn't mean she's not a woman. Besides that, I just felt like even like the conflict I don't care for. Cuz this the whole like conflict of like first the gym class, but also the thought that they think that Jamie is going to do something horrible to the coach and they like run after her trying to stop her from whatever this is. And it's just revealed that like, oh, they're related. It's she's not going to hurt her. It's fine. It's just I feel like there's like the stakes are just not there for me. It's not like there isn't stakes because obviously Jamie is portrayed as a menace to society, but it's like I just don't believe that they think Jamie is a like an actual threat. I just don't care for a lot of this. It's not horrible. Nothing like makes me up like actively upset. It's just like the vibes, the setup, the execution, don't love it. Jamie is an okay character, and that's that she has better episodes than this. She just does. Okay, next. Ooh, is the joy. This is so iconic. Bruh. Of course. Of course it's fucking Peak. Who do you think I Oh, this is so much fun. I feel like what I like most about this episode, and kind of like what put it a bump above the rest, because I will say right now, this is on the lower end of my peak for today, but that doesn't mean anything at this point, because it's still peak regardless. It's just, I really like the storytelling specifically in this episode. Like, I feel like this is one of those episodes where it's like the story itself is what makes me interested more than just like a bunch of funny shit happening. There's still funny shit happening, I'm just saying. Because this whole idea of basically Richard causing the zombie apocalypse, if we will, with the Wonder Hug, and the sheer force of Richard's love for his kids just made them possessed or something. And the thing is, the choice to have Miss Simeon basically be the main character in this episode, and her being like the last survivor of the outbreak, is so peak. Cause of course she would. If it's like she's just annoyed that kids are happy in front of her and she wants to figure out why that is. Of course she'd do that. Like this is one of my favorite Miss Simeon episodes because this is so some shit she would do. because she wants to make sure everyone is as depressed as possible on a Monday morning. The thing is, it's like everyone thinks she's crazy to begin with, because like, oh, won't you let the kids be happy? What's wrong with you? Two, it's like, oh, these kids are contagious. It's like nobody believes her until it's too late, type of thing. Because I like kind of like our three main players in this story is Miss Simeon, Principal Brown, and the nurse. Because the nurse also plays like a significant enough role in this episode. And I think that's really interesting where we get like more of a focus on the adults. I mean, Gumball and Darwin are still there, but it's like they're kind of like half like incapacitated like most of the time, so it's like well, they're just kind of sitting there. But I feel like it's just like we get some different dynamics that we don't usually see. And I like the whole like setup of the zombie apocalypse pretty much because it's like it's as dramatic as it needs to be. It is not like something like the disaster where it's played extremely straight, but it's like yes, there is stakes in the conflict and tension and all of those good things, but it's like you have to understand this is like low key ridiculous, but it's like it's the perfect blend of both. Because yes, they're just all happy and sparkly and they have like rainbow goo coming out of their mouths. But it's like, it is still set up like found footage type horror movie, like Blair Witch Project or something. So I just think that will always be fun to have something like this. And specifically, like, my favorite, like, kind of gag in this episode is that Tobias, besides Miss Simeon, Tobias is the only other one that doesn't get contaminated because nobody wants his ass. He wants he wants the other girls to contaminate him by like touching him, but they just nobody does. What a fucking loser. I love him. But that was just one of my favorite bits. The fact that this episode ends off on a bad note is so interesting because it ends with Miss Simeon filming her final video where she is slowly being infected and she's like, I know the remedy to this, but she can't say it before she gets infected, and it just ends like that. It ends with Gumball and Darwin overtaking her, and it's just everyone's contaminated. Alright, next we have the puppy. Oh, this is another episode that, like, gives us the beginning of reoccurring plots with the evil turtle. I must say that out of those two episodes, I don't like this one as much as that other one, but I still respect this for what it is. I will say that, like, the evil turtle plot isn't my favorite running story in the series, but how can you not, like, kind of like this? I don't know. So, of course, it begins with the kids wanting to get a puppy. Like, they're trying to pitch the idea of getting a puppy to Nicole and Richard. Which, this is brought up in another episode later on, but, like, the concept of the social hierarchy of animals in this world because a cat, fish, and a bunny wanted to have a dog as a pet. Anyway, but then Richard's like, okay, sure, like, I'll get you a puppy. It's a snapping turtle. It's a fucking snapping turtle. The fact that it's not just a regular turtle, but a snapping turtle is just like... When I was in my, childhood home, we had snapping turtles in our creek. I have seen a snapping turtle in person. Gnarly looking motherfuckers, honestly. It's like I understand the fear of the snapping turtle because, goddamn, those creatures are beasts. So when the kids are trying to like basically make the best out of the situation, because now they have a snapping turtle in their house and it's trying to eat them. I do like the insanity of the turtle and what it brings to the table, but what I am like kind of like my patience only goes so far is how much is it just torture? This isn't a torture episode, I would say, but I feel like how much of the turtle messing with Gumball do I want to watch? I mean, I thought it was already concerning when it. The turtle is technically a girl. They don't realize that she's a girl in this episode, but I'm gonna call her she anyway. But when she eats Gumball's face and Darwin and Anais just kind of look at the turtle like, okay, I guess we need to try something else. As like the turtle's like chewing their his face, and he's just sitting there like that's like somebody fucking do something about that. It's like it's just Gumball getting mauled half the time, and it's just like, mm, does does the turtle have something else specifically for Gumball? Because it kind of feels like it. Because I also thought that was like, I don't know about that. It's kind of like Darwin and Anais making Gumball feel bad for not liking the turtle. And it's like, rightfully so. She ate his fucking face off, dude. It's like, I wouldn't be friends with anyone like that. It's just kind of like Darwin and Anais low key gaslighting Gumball into liking the turtle, and like, you're such a bad person if you don't like this turtle. It's like, what? None of y'all like this fucking turtle. Like, get a grip. But it's like, it's kind of mean towards Gumball in a way I don't love, but it's not the worst offense of this happening. Because it was kind of funny when they like duct taped him to the tree and were trying to like get the turtle to like want to eat him. Because like, oh, that she seems to be interested in you the most, Gumball. So let's tie you up to use you as fucking bait. We kind of reached over the bell curve of absurdity where I don't hate that option. But probably my absolute favorite part of this episode is when the turtle chases Gumball back to the Awesome Store, because of course the Awesome Store is where the turtle was bought from. Is this the first time that we see the Awesome Store? I think so. But when the turtle chases Gumball back to the Awesome Store, and then it assumed that Darwin is like dead or something because he gets mysteriously pulled away and isn't seen for a little while. So with the assumption that Darwin's probably fucking dead, he comes back and is like, "You think you could draw me to the bottom of the lake and eat me for later? Well, guess what, punk? I'm a fish with legs." Iconic. Love it. Valid crash out. I support him. But even besides that, I feel like it's kind of hard to hear. I watch Gumball with the subtitles on, so I know everything that's being said. But actually, what is an underrated Darwin line is when he's like, "I'm going to kick slam your raggedy butt." When he's like, has like a golf club or something, just trying to like knock the turtle over the head, and Gumball's trying to pull him away. It's like, that is so savage for what Darwin. I mean, again, valid crash out. I support him. But it's like, oh my. It's just hearing Darwin say that is just hilarious, and I'm like, oh my god. But of course, what ends up happening in the end is like, well, we can't kill this fucking turtle. Because as it emerges out of the fire, hissing at them, it's like, fuck, I guess we're keeping the turtle. We will see. And even in like these other episodes, like the turtle makes a cameo a couple times, so it's like, she's there, she is present, and it's kind of funny. So I will say this is good. Like, I do like enjoy this. It's just like I simply don't like it as much as like other things that I'll put above it. But it's like I like this. This is like fun, even if it's kind of on the side of mean spirited that I don't love. Okay, next is something that surprised me so much. And no, I absolutely love it. Like, more than I thought I did. The recipe. I love this specifically for how morbid it is. Like, this is horrific. And it's so good. Because I would akin this closest to the microwave from season 1. But I feel like this is even more fucked up. This is even worse. In like a in such a I'm a big fan of just like weird concepts and just like morbid types of humor, and it's like this this scratches all those itches. Specifically, I think what makes this work for me the most is the fact that Gumball and Darwin are like self-aware of their own depravity. Cause as soon as they make the Anton clone, they're like, we committed crimes against humanity. What the fuck are we supposed to do? And I'm like, one of my favorite aspects of Gumball as a whole is how self aware these characters can be. This is what I mean. This is specifically what I mean when I love my characters to be self aware. Because I'm an extremely self aware person, and I love my characters to be self aware too. Not even to mention how we got here. Because, right, we're going out guns blazing just from the first scene alone. When the coach makes Anton swim in the pool and have Gumball jump in to save him, but he's a fucking piece of toast, so when he goes in the water, he's gonna turn to mush. And the entire group of students just witness their classmate die. Like, that's just what this is. There's no even sugarcoat in this. They watched this guy die. Gumball was holding his corpse, his mangled corpse, as he's trying to give him CPR when he's just fucking dead. It's something, all right. That is definitely the way to start the episode, because like it just gets even crazier and crazier, which is so good. It is so good. Because when the next day they find Anton to be perfectly fine on the bus, and Gumball's like, "How the fuck is this dude still alive?" Where where he's like, "We gotta figure this out, because this is like the craziest shit I've ever seen." Like dude, he was gone. And so is how they basically kill Anton like 50 times to see how he can basically come back to life to no avail. And the fucking quote that just takes me out, where it's like, Darwin's like, maybe we should just ask him how he does it. And then Gumball's like, you should have said that before we iced him 50 times in a row. It was this episode that made me realize this. That in the original series, they couldn't say dead, die, died, anything like that. Killed, I think. I cannot recount. I don't think they said it. Like, they just never said the hard word of, like, we killed this guy. Because when Gumball says, before we iced him 50 times in a row, it's just simply the funnier way to say it. Because it's like, we understand what he means. But I don't know why the term of iced just, like, is funnier than saying if we killed him 50 times in a row. It's one of those things, it's like, it's everything but the obvious. What I mean by that is, like, yes, they literally killed him, but they're not going to say they killed him. But everyone knows that they killed him, type of thing, but they just use a different term for it. I love when anything does that because it's just more interesting and creative than if you just did the obvious. But the fact that they did this at all is crazy work. And then when they spy on him in his house and they see his parents basically make a clone of Anton in the toaster, and they're like, oh, we totally have to try this. When they make like the couple different versions of him, because Antoine obviously is the antagonist in this episode, but when they make Ant 2, who is like kind of half done because all he does is repeat what they say. When they're like, oh my god, we made an accurate clone of our friend. We have violated all the laws of nature and physics, and we have never once considered his feelings in all of this, and now we have just made. And now we're gonna be hunted down by the FBI for crimes against humanity. And I'm like, you said all of the obvious. This just fucking kills me when like anything does this. It's just like, it's just deliciously morbid. This is probably the most morbid episode. I would argue that this is the most morbid episode of the series. It just kind of is. Because of like, it's like a conversation of like, basically, the morality of doing whatever the fuck this is. And it's like, then they make an army of them after just saying that we shouldn't make more clones, but they make more fucking clones, and like half of them die. The thing is, there's just so much death. Like, this is straight up so much death. Yes, he's a piece of toast. Yes, it's not graphic because it makes this work so well because it's not graphic in the traditional sense. Like, there's not blood everywhere or anything. But the fact that Darwin, like, now has PTSD from hearing the screams of the toasts dying is just, like, horrifying. Like, this is a horrifying episode if, like, you think about it, like, actually. And the thing is, I think it takes itself seriously. Like, it just does. Because, again, they're self-aware of the crimes they committed. And they realize this is, like, morally, legally, spiritually wrong or whatever. And they just have to sit with that fact because their actions cannot be undone now because they have caused the birth and death of the lives of so many. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. They're basically playing God and half understand the consequences, but half don't give a shit because they still make the clones anyway. And of course, they kill the evil ant one because he's the one that was trying to, like, replace everybody and be the only one. But you know, what specifically killed me, besides all of this, is the specific line of when Ant One is basically calling Gumball his dad. He's like, everything will be perfect once it's just you, me, and Mother. And then Gumball's like, I'm not your dad. I'm just a dude. And Darwin would make a terrible mother because he's just a dude. It's like, I don't know why that was so funny, but the way he said it just kills me. And of course, the fake out where they thought they were able to rescue, like, the real Anton, but it was Ant 2 instead. They're just like, ah, shit. We got the wrong guy. This is hilarious. This is messed up. And it is my perfect blend of dark humor. I just fucking love this. Alright, next we have another heater of an episode. The name. Oh my god. I remember. I remember the first time I saw this. And I was mind blown. I was like, oh my god. And even looking back on this, I'm like, oh my god. Because this is a weird episode, like, objectively looking within the series, because, like, it's so good. The lore, so good. The execution, so good. The fucking theories I have about this that I'm going to tell you soon, so good. This is so good. I will say this is so good, but I'm going to put it just under the recipe simply because I like it more. I like the recipe more. But the name is one of my favorites. It just is. Because this concept is so deeply interesting. I, like, wrote, like, a mini essay on it on my Tumblr. I just needed to get it off my chest. But I'm gonna tell you kind of my interpretation of it. I know this is it's my headcanon, it's my theory, it's whatever. But I feel like this episode is like an allegory for trans people, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because, okay, if we have to break this down to its finest components, it's the importance of your name and the identity you have based on your name. Of course, this whole episode is about Gumball doesn't know his real name, okay? I think it is mentioned once before. I think it was the promise, actually, where is it? Maybe. I think it is the promise from season 2, where Darwin mentions that Gumball is a nickname. He's like, well, give me a cool nickname, but Gumball is your nickname. Well, give me a cooler one or something like that. It is mentioned once before that Gumball is a nickname. Basically the breadth of what the name Gumball means to him, okay? I'm gonna get thinky about this because this fascinates me extensively. Where this is the concept of how your name closely identifies with your personality and, like, your sense of self, your identity, your perception of yourself, and also kind of like what others perceive you as. Specifically for people that get their name legally changed, okay? I'm thinking specifically transgender people and, like, non-binary people. It's mostly like queer people, I feel like, that get their name, like, legally changed to something else. Obviously, there's other instances, but I think this is what I'm going to connect this to, is how like trans and queer people, like the importance of their name in like shaping their sense of identity. Because if to break this down, Zach, Gumball's real name, is technically his dead name, okay? And Gumball is his preferred name. That's just what it is. Just like, oh, you're just being too woke about this. No, motherfucker, this is what this is. This is what is being portrayed. You cannot torch me. That Gumball, as his preferred name, to this day we still don't know how he got that name, but we're gonna Gumball is Gumball, okay? He just is. That Gumball is his preferred name and is the name that he shaped his entire identity around, okay? Because Gumball is the Gumball that we have known up to this point, and what everyone has known him up to this point. His family, his friends, his teachers, everybody. They know him as Gumball. Nobody knows him as Zach. It is very important to know nobody knows him as Zach, because Banana Joe asks, like, who's Zach? And Gumball's like, that's me. And it's like, okay. Oh, okay. Like, nobody knows. Like, even Gumball doesn't know his own fucking name. Nicole is the only one that knows, and because she named him. Obviously, she would know. The thing is, this feels wrong. Like, oh, Gumball's Zach now. That just feels wrong. Yeah, it does, because he's not Zach. But specifically, the personality, the persona even, the second identity that is formed around Zach is such a douchebag. Because it is very important that Zach is a douchebag. Bonafide. Jerky, jock, asshole, I don't know, all of it. He's the best way I can describe it, he's like Tobias. He's like Tobias, and that is deeply hilarious. But he's like this overconfident jock that like thinks he's so great when he like I am so popular, I am so good, I am so good at everything, I'm so smart, I am perfect. It's like he's got his ego up his ass, obviously. And he acts like such a douchebag because he like doesn't like consider anybody's feelings or whatever. And then Darwin's like, dude, why you like this? It's literally, dude, why you like this? But then, when they realize it's not just him being an ass just for the fun of it, it's more like this second skin, it feels like a second skin, is overtaking Gumball's identity because the more he associates himself with that name, it overtakes his identity. Specifically, it erases his memories, as would become increasingly more dangerous, as this Zack persona is literally trying to kill Gumball. Okay? Like, he's withering away as, like, Zack overtakes his mind and body. One of my favorite themes of Gumball is a loser comes in clutch in this episode, where Zack rewrites Gumball's memories as him being super cool, impressive, succeeds at everything. But that's not how it happened, because Gumball is. He flops a lot. He makes a lot of mistakes. A lot of shit doesn't work out, you know. As most of his bad ideas end up having bad consequences. So it's like, as they keep saying, Gumball, you have to remember that you are a loser. And that is said lovingly, I believe. That he has to basically, I'm gonna say, ground himself in reality. Because I feel like why Zack is the way he is because it's kind of maybe a repressed version of himself. Because the thing is, Gumball has an ego. He has a big ass ego. He just does. It is buried underneath layers of like self deprecation and anxiety and bitterness. Like it just. But it's like he has a big ass ego buried underneath all of this shit. And I think Zack is just like his pure ego, okay? He is basically, if he was completely sure of himself, if he truly thought he was as hot of shit as he thinks he is. I'm thinking about the episode The One, where Darwin is like psychoanalyzing Gumball. It's like his final form underneath all of these other emotions is his ego. I think this is the root of all that. I don't know, that's just my opinion. But kind of where we get the connection to queer people and trans people is how like gender dysphoria. Hear me out. Because I feel like when Gumball was basically having his identity crisis and like he had trouble trying to connect himself to who he really was and how like even his name like makes him basically dysphoric of his own identity. Like he literally doesn't know who he is and it's causing him great distress because he's like freaking out that it's like my memories are fading. I don't even know who I am anymore, type of thing. The most important thing is he doesn't know who he is anymore when he's in this weird state between his like legal name and his nickname, his preferred name. And I feel like especially for like trans people, like if you have a name, if you your dead name pretty much, which aligns with like a gender identity that you don't align with, you don't identify with, that makes you uncomfortable, like being referred to like that, it causes great discomfort. Because I'm pulling from the discomfort that like both Gumball and trans people feel about not being called the name that they'd prefer. Because we all know deep down that Gumball is Gumball. Like he wants to be Gumball. He is Gumball. Like he just is Gumball. He's not Zack. Even though Zack is his birth name, his legal name, he is not Zack. You feel me? This is not a stretch, I believe. So basically, and what makes this my connection here even stronger is the fact that the only way to resolve this dysphoria is if they go to the town hall and legally change his name. That's the only way to solve this problem. And with trans people, by like legally changing their name to fit their gender identity, it makes them feel better. For simple terms. And in this case, it makes Gumball go back to normal. It permanently eradicates Zack. Like, Zack is gone. There's no trace of Zack left. It kind of, like, puts that in the past. Like, this identity that no longer serves you, or that you've never identified with at all. That's my theory. Alright, next we have the extras. Ugh. Nah, I'm all set, actually. I don't give a fuck, honestly. Like, this is so boring, and I hate to say that. I hate to say that this is so boring. Like, I like the world from season 2 better, which these are similar concepts, except instead of objects, this is like the background characters. Not even like side characters, just literally the background characters of this world. And like, I would even say, like, it would be generous to say to see their stories, but there's nothing going on here. There's nothing going on here. Even my notes for this are pretty sparse because it's like, nothing happens. I am so serious when I say nothing really happens here. Because it just seems to be a compilation of dull puns and jokes and stuff. Like, it's all puns, and I don't care. It's like, they don't do anything interesting with this concept. Like, I like the world a lot more because they made it like stories out of these things. Like the different objects, like having their own inner lives and worlds and stories that are just as dramatic and intense as anyone else's. But I feel like this episode, they just didn't try to do anything interesting with it. Because it's just a bunch of puns. It's not like we get to know more about these characters or like the lives of the characters or anything like that, really. Like, there's very little of that. And we just see a bunch of lame jokes, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. Gumball should not make me feel bored, and this just does, and I'm just like, okay, next. That's all I gotta say is like, no. But we ain't doing too much better with this next. Oh, Jesus. The grapes is. I also don't like this really that much. So this just frustrates me. It doesn't bore me, so I'm putting it above the extras because it doesn't bore me. I just don't. This whole concept just doesn't work, like, straight up, at least to me. I like the beginning. I like the setup before the main conflict. I like that where like Gumball's just being bitter and Darwin wants to kill him for it, and I like that. Because Gumball is in a bad mood and he's gonna make sure everyone knows it, and then Darwin's like high key going insane, trying not to crash out on him until he does. He's like, great, now you made me into a bad mood too. I like leading up to that is good because valid crash out Darwin because he's annoying as hell. But where it feels like it just goes off the rails in not a way that I enjoy is when it gets to the point where everyone thinks they're homeless people and are trying to like do good deeds to them, and they're trying to like say like we don't need your charity, we're not homeless. But when they try to tell them that they don't want if they realize that they are not homeless and they think they've been lying to them the whole time, even though they haven't, because they've been trying to tell them this all along, but also they low key want them to be homeless because they want to help them and make themselves feel better by helping these poor unfortunate people. It's just like it's messy. Okay, I know this is supposed to be messy, but this is just straight up not an enjoyable thing to see. Like I just don't like it. It's just like Gumball and Darwin are being put in such a weird situation where it's like you can't really win any other way, and it's low key all your fault because if you weren't crying and moaning the whole time, you wouldn't end up in this situation. And it's just like then they have to trash the house in the end because they think they're gonna get their asses beat when when the town people realize that they don't live in the squalor. It's just like honestly, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not about there's parts of it that I enjoy. Like I like the beginning. It's not all bad. That's why it's in the mag cuz it's not bad. I just when I say I don't like it, it doesn't mean I think it's bad because if I think an episode's bad, that's kind of harsh. I just don't like this that much. I just don't. But something I do like is the vacation. I like this for probably a different reason than pretty much anything else on this list. It's just the vibes alone. I say this episode is very much like the storytelling of it and the straight vibes, honestly. This episode is straight vibes. But the tone it sets and the story that is being set is I fuck with it. Because this it's like kind of like a stereotypical plot, but I still like enjoy where this goes, where they are telling scary stories on their road trip to their camp and vacation. And when Nicole tries to one up all of them by telling them the scariest story, and then they slowly learn that the events of that story come true, and they get super paranoid about, like, oh my god, this is real! But it turns out it's just a great misunderstanding because the creepy guy they think is gonna eat them is just some guy. I just like even like the more technical things like the lighting, the music, like the pacing of it, even like the camera angles and stuff like that. I just like how this looks and feels. It's very like there is stakes here. Like the conflict, the tension, the stakes, it's all very much there. And even throughout like the second half where like the audience knows that like this guy's not really a threat, but since the characters feel like he's a threat so much so that it kind of suspension of disbelief or it's like it makes you more interested into just to keep watching to see what happens because is this going to be a fake out or not? It's like it's very interesting and I really like how this is framed. It's just kind of fun. It's like you're there for like the spooky vibes. It's like you know how it's going to end low key. It's like you know like oh he's not a bad guy. But it's just I just like watching this happen more than anything. And I think that is very cool. So, I'm actually gonna rate. I'm putting it above the kids and the fan. Just above the kids, actually. Because similar to the kids, it's like I just like the idea, I like the vibes of it, and I like how it's executed. So this actually gets rated pretty highly in my book. Okay, next. This surprised me. Like, I'd say, like, similar to the recipe, but I like that one more. But the fraud is so good. I didn't realize how good this was, but this is so good. Like, in my original ranking, I had this in peak, but something told me to take it down a notch. I watched it again and I'm like, it is so good, but like, I feel like first peak needs to be a more sacred category. But it's like this is just really, really good. It's not like peak, but this is so good. Not to knock it, because I will explain why this is so good, but this is an extremely solid episode and it is so entertaining. Because this whole concept of Principal Brown doesn't have a real diploma. He's not qualified to be a principal at the school. So he's doing everything in his power so Gumball and Darwin don't tell anyone about this, but they hikey don't give a fuck and are not going to like tell anyone, even though Principal Brown is like 100% convinced that they will. But I feel like this concept of Principal Brown being paranoid that they're gonna turn him in, and he's like basically trying to bribe them. Like the whole episode is Principal Brown trying to bribe them into compliancy, okay? But the thing is, they don't need to be convinced to not do it. It's basically Principal Brown's too much in his own head to realize that they're not going to do anything to tarnish his reputation. He is that locked in. Because I think what makes this work the most for me is how much Gumball and Darwin don't give a fuck. Because it's a great contrast to Principal Brown crashing out and Gumball and Darwin being like, he's going insane. I don't know what his problem is. Because again, Principal Brown is trying to do literally everything in his power to convince or bribe or manipulate them into not spilling his secret, even though that was never the intention. Because they're like, promise you won't tell anyone? And then Gumball's like, yeah, sure. He's like, oh, so it's gonna be like that, is it? And they're like, yeah, we're not gonna tell anyone. Like, Principal Brown being anal is hilarious, and Principal Brown is such a chaotic character. Like, I love Principal Brown. Like, most episodes he's in is like, oh my god, I love him. And this is just one of my favorites. One of my favorite Principal Brown episodes. Because he's just crazy. Like, it's a very, like, the conflict and tension is very real because he could lose his job over this. And it's like, not only to protect the secret of him not having a real diploma, but also Gumball and Darwin trying to protect the secret of Principal Brown blowing up the school. This is a dark episode too, if you actually think about it, because when Principal Brown basically misanalyzed Gumball's advice of like, all you gotta do is take care of the school and you'll be fine. And then Principal Brown's like, take care of the school. I understand. Let's blow this shit up. And Gumball's like, wait a minute. And it's like, they're trying not to have the others figure this out to not cause mass chaos. It's just chaotic and so good, and honestly, everyone's in character. Alright. Oh shit. We got the void. Because it's the fucking void, alright? Like, who do you think I am? This is peak, obviously, because there's so much to unpack here. And this is like the catalyst to everything that's gonna happen later, okay? Now, this is not the. Technically, this is not the first time the Rob plot is introduced. It's not even like. The thing is, the Rob is not really in this episode. There is the Easter egg where he is in the void and we see him. That's it. But technically, this is where it all begins. Where Gumball and Darwin realize that Molly is missing, and Mr. Small is convinced that there's a conspiracy behind her disappearance. Because this is when I said earlier that Mr. Small was aware of the state of the world, this is the episode I'm referring to. Because he got his tin hat on and he's like, I know the secrets of this world, and I'm the only one that seems to know it. Cause they all think that he's crazy and that he's just being a crazy hippie like he usually is. But when they actually find the fucking fold in the universe where the void is, they're like, wait a minute. So this is like an interesting case of like the conspiracy theorist was right. All right, because what they assume is, I guess, his girlfriend. Like, we have to get Janice back. They think Janice is like his girlfriend or something, but she's just a car. The storytelling here is just phenomenal. Obviously, any like void centric episode, like the storytelling is just incredible. Need I say more? Where it seems like the world has erased the existence of Molly and she only exists in the spare memories of a few. Because nobody remembers Molly. Not even really Gumball. Really? And Mr. Small kind of remembers her. It's like, if if the world deems you as a mistake, it will take you in. It will consume you and nobody will remember you. But when they kind of find the glitch in the matrix or whatever, when they realize something is missing, and they realize all the inconsistencies in their world, like how Molly's house literally folded in on itself, they realize that something is wrong, and once they track down the seam in the earth, pretty much, they see the void. And what kills me is when Darwin pushes everyone in the void like he don't give a fuck. Because Gumball's like, actually, I don't think I want to go in there. That seems kind of scary. We should just leave because we didn't really remember her anyway. And then Darwin's just like, fuck you, and just pushes him in. Then Mr. Small's like, that wasn't very nice, Darwin. And then Darwin's like, fuck you too. He chucks him in the void as well. I just think that's funny because Darwin being savage is my favorite genre. But then the whole thing of when they find Molly in the void, it's like mentally she never left her last place. It's like, oh, it's been a year since we last saw you. I think what they're referring to is the season one episode, The Pressure, is where mentally she is left off. And she's like, what do you mean? I saw you yesterday. So technically, she got thrown into the void the day after the pressure happened. So that's how they tie that lore into this. And she's literally frozen in time, and she doesn't quite understand her circumstances until they explain to her, you're in the void, and the world thinks you're so boring that you ended up here. So much time has passed, you need to come with us to the real world so we can basically save you from. I think of the void kind of as purgatory in this world. It's not hell. It's not hell. I genuinely think that the void is an allegory for purgatory. Time doesn't exist in this place. Things just exist as how they've always been, and it's like nothingness. It's literally like everything and nothing is the void. It's a tear in the universe that has been failed to be sealed. And no one really, the thing is, nobody knows about this except for, because again, when as soon as they get out of the void, they their memory is erased, and they don't know that it exists anymore. Like the void is kind of like this ominous being, kind of like the void kind of has a mind of its own. The void is its own entity, okay, and it erases the minds of everyone that has seen it. So it's like very. That's why I think it's kind of like purgatory, because it's like it's this place where mortals just aren't meant to be, type of thing. It's just so good. This shit is so good. And obviously, looking back on it, you can see Rob in the void and how they saved Molly, but not him. And of course, as we will see this later, what actually happened. But that foreshadowing is so good. But honestly, the funniest thing, like the best joke I'd say in this episode, is Crazy Frog. Crazy Frog makes an appearance, and I remember this specifically because, like, in the mid to late 2010s, there was a Cartoon Network bumper where it was like the scene where it's like Gumball's like run him over. Specifically, Gumball's line delivery on "run him over" when the crazy frog is like making weird noises in front of the car, and they just like run him over. First, that's just funny as hell. But the fact that that was like a bumper that I saw a lot on TV, it just makes this episode even more memorable than it already is because that joke was so good. But this is straight heat. Love it so much. Okay, next we have the boss. Ooh, this is a fun one. I think this is like another one that like I enjoy more than I thought I did because like this is like really solid. Because like this another Mr. Robinson episode, even though he's not like the main character, it's the first time we see the Mr. Robinson and Rocky tension dynamic, where it is that Mr. Robinson needs basically a transfusion because he popped his seam and lost a lot of stuff in. And since it is revealed that Rocky is his son, but he's like, oh, my son will never amounts to anything. Like, it's like the whole concept of Mr. Robinson being disappointed in Rocky and like being embarrassed by him and stuff. So Rocky has to prove his worth to his dad that he is good enough by basically Gumball and Darwin swindling him into a corporate job that he's not qualified for. Because it's like kind of like the baby boomer mindset of like you're only seen as successful if you have like a stable white collar job or whatever. And clearly that is not what Rocky wants or like what is good for him, because he basically sells his soul to the company where he becomes like a shell of his former self, and they have to work to basically get his soul back. It is not they didn't like actually steal his soul, but like we are fully convinced that they actually did. And I'm like, yeah, socially conscious Gumball comes in clutch again, because that's kind of what this is. It's like a big critique on like corporate culture or whatever. It's very solid. It's very interesting. I say like throughout the whole thing, like the stakes are there. It is that Mr. Robinson is going to die if he doesn't get this transfusion, and if we can't get Rocky out of this situation, then he's going to die pretty much. It's like it's pretty much a matter of life or death for both Mr. Robinson and Rocky, because Rocky's gonna die in that place, I suppose. And it's just fun, especially putting Rocky in this situation where it's basically like putting someone into an environment they don't thrive in type of thing. Very good. And the fact that that Mr. Robinson and Rocky make up in the end, that the surgery goes well. It's like, yeah, that's very good. That's very good. So I do like this quite a bit. It's very interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it just above the fan, because as much as I like the fan, there's just issues with it that the boss doesn't have. Like, I don't see many, like, glaring issues with the boss. Next, we have another one that surprised me. The Move. Like, this is cool. I really like this. Clayton isn't my favorite character. He's kind of a one-trick pony. Like, yeah, he lies a lot and he's kind of a jerk. It's like, yeah, but still, I like him in this episode because he's like trying to better himself, but he's just so delusional. Because I think of kind of Clayton as like a worse version of Gumball, like morally. Because it's like, it makes Gumball look good. Because I think what's really interesting is that Gumball critiques Clayton for having such an inflated ego. It's like, this is how you really see yourself and how you see us, as he thinks of himself as like this powerful person, and Gumball and Darwin as his like servants, and he's like, he basically hypes himself up as like more important than he actually is, or like, he basically lies about his entire self to be seen as cooler than he actually is. It's Gumball if he wasn't self-aware. I think that's can best describe Clayton's character, because he is not aware of the same type of shit that Gumball is. Because Gumball thinks he's hot shit, but he knows deep down that he's a loser. I think Clayton is kind of in a similar font, but he's just not the same level of awareness that Gumball is. But I think also, like, besides, like, the thing that this episode centers around, which is, like, this weird karate move or whatever the hell that Clayton did on Tobias that made him shit his pants or whatever. But the fact that we have Tobias in here just makes it 10 times better, because I love Tobias. Where it's like, Tobias is intimidated by Clayton because he's would do, like, this weird, like, disintegrated move on, like, heart disintegrated move on him. And then Gumball is like, we have to figure out what the fuck is going on with this, because I think it's bullshit. And of course it's bullshit. if it's anything of Clayton, it's gonna be bullshit. And no matter how much they try to convince him to like do exercises to make him not lie anymore, he can't do it. You don't have it in him to. Well, the thing is, it's like Clayton is kind of like Clayton and Gumball are very similar. The more that I think about it, because Clayton does admit that he thinks he's a loser, and he like makes up all these lies to make himself look better and make himself feel better. And then Gumball is trying to like hype him up, like, oh, but you're great just the way you are. And they can't name a single positive quality about him. It's like that was so funny. He ends up. This is weird because it's like, was the move real or not? Because when Clayton demonstrates the move on Tobias, they're completely convinced he's bullshitting. It's like that was it. That's the move everyone was so scared of. And then Tobias just fucking collapses. And they're like, wait a minute. Clayton, what the fuck did you do? You killed this guy. It's like, the thing is, we don't really know what caused Tobias to faint or whatever. Was it the move? Was it something else? It is never revealed what this is. But all they know is, we gotta hide the evidence. So things take an immediate 180 once they realize they probably killed this guy. And they conclude that they have to set up the scene as in someone else beat him up to basically shift the blame, because all they're doing is shifting the blame on somebody else. And Clayton's like, wait, isn't this lying? You just told me not to lie, but you're lying right now. And Gumball's like, wait, this is different. Please, bro, this is a different situation, and we need your help right now. It's just hilarious, honestly. It's like Gumball's like, scrap that. We need to bury the body. Because the way they want to frame it is like some girl beat him up because he was like sexually harassing them or whatever. Completely plausible, by the way. So while they try to like be as not suspicious as possible, but even though we know damn well that don't look good, they try to frame it so Jamie beat the shit out of Tobias, but then right at the last second, everyone realizes that this was all a setup and they're trying to like cover their tracks, and everyone confronts them at once and they're just like, oh shit, and then the episode just ends. And that's honestly incredible. So I think this is great just because like this is just chaos. This is probably my favorite Clayton episode. Yeah, I think it is. Because it's just like the situation, like the way they take this story is just like it's interesting for the character, and I very much enjoy it. And getting Tobias involved is always a good time. So yeah. Okay, next we have the law. Which I don't. Mm, it's alright, I suppose. It's just not that interesting. I was kind of torn because I'm like, I think it's good enough. Like, part of me wants to put it in meh because it's like, I just don't care. But it doesn't really do anything that's like, ugh. So it's gonna go at the end of good simply because it's like, there's nothing wrong with it, really. It's just I don't care. Maybe it's because I don't specifically find Donut Cop to be like an interesting character or whatever. It's not like he can't have his own episode. It's just like I don't know. Cause like this whole plot of like Donut Cop trying to convince Gumball and Darwin that cops are cool. And it gets carried away when he like, I am the law, so I can do whatever I want. And like causes mass destruction. It's just like okay. It makes sense, you know? Like, and eventually Gumball and Darwin realize like, oh, this is too much, you need to stop, but he's already in too deep, so he can't. It's like I this is why it's like good because like the setup, the conflict, the tension, it's all there. It's just it's not what I'm like super interested in. Cause like I feel like the most interesting part of this is Felicity specifically, where it's like right after Donut Cop gets fired for causing damage, Gumball's trying to convince him to like be a cop again, And he's like, what would happen if someone were to jaywalk? And just when he's about to do it, Felicity's like, oh my god, why would you jaywalk in front of a cop? Is there no law in this town anymore? I guess I can do whatever the fuck I want. And it's like, such a small thing spirals into something so crazy, and Gumball's like, well, that got a hand quickly. Yeah, no shit. I like the chase scene where it's like they're trying to catch Felicity because she's just actually unhinged. It's like, I'll show you that I'm the cool cop and I'll let her off with a warrant. And it's like, she's a menace to society. What the fuck are you doing? And it's like, I like Felicity as a character, like, enough. Like, she's so annoying, but, like, the situations they put her in is honestly so good. Because she's, like, an unsung villain in this world or whatever. And I just think that's fun. So it's like, I like this, like all of this. It's just like not enough. I just don't care about Donut Cop. I don't care. Sorry. An episode centered around him, I'm not gonna be interested in. But it's fine. There's nothing really wrong with it. On a similar but more positive vein, I suppose, is the allergy. I do like this better, I will say that much, because I'm gonna put it directly above it. Yes. But it's just like this borders on being frustrating, but not enough. It's not like the grapes level of frustrating, but it's kind of like if they push it a bit too much, I don't know if I would like it as much. Because it's this thing where it's like Darwin can't stop sneezing and nobody knows why, but they kind of like conclude that it's like he's allergic to stupidity and everyone here is stupid, so he has to be isolated. So he's that first doesn't cause property damage, which he does a lot of, but it's also like they're trying to protect themselves from Darwin, who becomes like a dangerous person because he can't control the power of his sneezes. And it's more like Anais concludes that he must be allergic to stupidity. And this is the one thing that I'm just like, really? How can Darwin be allergic to stupidity if he's stupid half the fucking time? The thing is, they give Darwin too much credit here, and I'm like, are you sure about that? Because obviously, Richard and Gumball, they have to restrain them from being stupid to not provoke Darwin. Like, obviously, those are the two biggest culprits. But I also think it's like, you're acting like Darwin has never done anything stupid in his life when he has so many bad ideas. He has so many stupid ideas. It's like, he is not absolved from this. He still acts stupid. It's it just it's not like, oh my god, this makes no sense. It's like, I just nah. I'm just saying not to that. It's like, I don't prefer that. It's just kind of like one of those episodes is like, oh, something happens and we can't explain it, so we're gonna go through all the motions on trying to figure it out, but then when we actually figure it out, it's like it's a small thing. Cause oh look, it's a feather stuck in his gills. He's allergic to feathers because of the pillow fight in the first scene. It's like, okay, yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's only so much I can take about Darwin being destructive and people and everyone calling each other stupid. It's like, it's not the most interesting concept, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. It's just like, it's fine. It's just not my preferred. Like, I have a lot of other stuff that I just prefer over this, but that's okay. Alright, next we have something else that surprised me is the mothers. I really enjoyed this, like, more than I used to, I think. I think more than anything, this episode's, like, sweet. Like, it's a cute episode for what it is, because the main theme of this is, like, Gumball and Darwin love their mom so much, and they want to prove to everybody that she is indeed the best, because they think she's so cool. And that is so sweet. That is genuinely so sweet. Like in the beginning when they're like making her a card and they're like, oh, this is surely the best card for the best mom in the world. And even the conflict itself is like cute because it's them, Tobias, and Banana Joe battling out to see who has the best mom because they all think their moms are the greatest. It's so cute. And what they do, as the chaos would naturally ensue, is that they unknowingly put all their moms up to tests to prove themselves as the superior mother. And it is then learned that Tobias's mom has been cheating the whole time. Like they teamed up to like cheat to make her win instead. And when obviously Nicole is like obviously we know that Nicole is actually the best mother out of this crowd because Banana Barbara is a little not mentally there, and Tobias's mom is kind of a piece of shit, and Nicole is both strong and cares about her kids. So, yeah. But it's like, once they catch Tobias's mom cheated, specifically the hot sauce bit where it's like, this exchange was so funny when they're like accused and it's like, you switched out the hot sauce with ketchup, didn't you? And then Mrs. Wilson's like, no, no, no. Like she's the one that's like defending herself so nonchalantly, as in like she knows she fucked up. And it's just kind of funny. But then they realize, oh my god, Nicole obviously is like the actual winner because she's like strong and smart and all the things. And you think that would be it, but no. They almost die. Because the thing is, like, obviously Nicole gets pissed when she realizes that this was all an elaborate setup, just. And she, like, suffered throughout all of it, and she's like, you're grounded. So, this is also sincere, but when they, like, paint over the banner to, like, apologize to her, because again, everything they do in this episode is so sincere. And it's lovely. But when they realize they fucked up, when they can't get down from the building, they're like, please, Mom, come help us, come save us. And of course, Nicole does her big one and saves her kids from falling off the building. And, like, the whole thing of her being portrayed as a superhero. And it's like, oh, she really is the superest mom ever. And it's like, it's just so cute. It is so sweet. Family love. Everyone loves their mom. And it is cute as hell. And it's like, that's just so cute. I'm gonna put it right under the kids and in between the kids and the boss. But like this is such a cute episode. I love it. Okay, so next is the password. I will say that this is an interesting episode. I will say that much. Because this whole concept of the idea of a favorite child, okay? Which we will then learn that was a mindfuck by Anais specifically. But since Richard changed the password on their computer to what they think is favorite child, and once they realize that Anais is the password, they're like, Anais is our dad's favorite. So we want to do everything to prove that that we should be his favorite kids. It's like it gets into like the hierarchy of like there are no favorites, but like if you had to like put yourself in that situation, it's like okay, what would it? It's just weird, a weird family dynamic type of thing. Because it's like Gumball and Darwin are fully convinced that Richard favorites Anais, and up to that, like there's not a ton of there's like no foreshadowing saying that Anais was behind this all along. Really, it's just kind of like a jump scare at the end, which I don't mind actually. But they tried it again. This is actually pretty sincere when they're trying to like do everything to basically suck up to Richard, but it just fails miserably. I think the fact that this works, even though Richard kind of suffers, is that it is so sincere. It's like the intentions were so pure that I can't get mad at it. But then when Richard gets obviously fed up with them and is like, leave me alone, please, you're bothering me. Which I actually really love Richard in this episode because it's just he's not like annoying or like overly anything. It's just he's kind of normal and it's lovely because he's like, I've had enough of you two. Please leave me alone. You're bothering me. It's like we need Richard to be more reasonably agitated more often. I think that's what makes this work. And the funniest thing is when they try to make a blackmail tape of Anais talking shit about Richard. When this is the key thing of like Darwin has done stupid shit before, so he is not absolved of anything. Is when he didn't edit out the part where he's like, this is gonna be so good. It's gonna make it look like she said all those bad things about him, but she didn't. And then Richard's like, what the fuck did you do? And it's like, well, it's wonderful. And that's kind of like what makes this plot turn a bit, is when everyone's pissed off. Because, of course, Gumball throws the final throw where he's like, you're only our second favorite parent anyway. So pulling that card out, and then Richard's like, oh my god. So everyone's in a bad mood, and Nicole's like, what the hell is going on? And then Richard's like, it's hard being the second favorite parent and having to be the bad cop sometimes. And then it's like, it's basically this ends out in Nicole and Richard fighting each other over the love of their children, which is kind of crazy, but this is what actually happens. Because they basically try to buy the love of the children by buying them a new computer, and of course they have like an iconic car chase scene. Anytime they're like chasing each other in their car, it's always fun. But they get so enraptured in like the idea of coming up on top and like being the favorite that they lose sight of what's actually important. Like, I don't know, putting your kids in mortal danger over some stupid shit. It be like that. But then, of course, when they actually like stop and realize this is ridiculous, we have no favorites, and it is of course revealed that Richard did not set that password. Of course, the password was password. Why wouldn't it be? And it was Anais that did it. And she's like, I changed the password again. Good luck. Her Anais being a little shit never gets old. But I do like that. Like, I feel like this is interesting because it's like it we haven't really seen this type of dynamic from them before, of like the idea of favoritism. I found it specifically diabolical that like, yeah, it was like when Gumball pulls the adoption card out on Darwin, and I'm like, what? That is, yeah, where like Gumball's trying to basically say like, well, I'm the favorite child, and then Darwin's like, what about me? And then Gumball's like, well, you're basically saying you're adopted, so they don't love you as much as me, which is fucking nuts, but okay. It's like, oh, Darwin catches some big ass strays, but this is fun. But I don't. I'm gonna put it at the top of good because it is honestly close, but it's like I just enjoy these concepts more. Okay, next we have again something that surprised me, but even more because for some reason I thought I didn't really care for the procrastinators. I don't know why. I maybe when I was younger I didn't like appreciate it that much, but looking back upon it, it's like this is pretty good. Like it's different. Like I think it's just different from a lot of things because it's more like slice of life, dare I say. Because there's nothing crazy that happens in this episode. It's not a clip show. It just shows them literally doing stuff. Like there's no like the main conflict is that they have to take out the trash before Nicole gets home. Like that's it. And it just shows them doing stuff. Like they go on the computer, they go play outside, they do some dumb shit. They waste all their time and they make pranks for each other and whatever. It's like it's just kind of wholesome. Like it's literally just seeing these two characters just exist. And I find it interesting just on that front alone because as chaotic of a show as Gumball is, we just don't see a ton of just like quieter moments where it's like your biggest concern is Nicole yelling at you for not taking out the trash. So today's not the day where you have to like save the universe from tearing apart. It's like I imagine this is the type of thing that happens in between all these other episodes. It's just like this is the time we actually see it happen. And it's all because they're procrastinating on taking out the trash. It's like, yeah, this is just kind of cozy. And it's like it's fun because it's like every segment of them like doing stuff. It's like kind of fun. It's like they're just fucking around and doing whatever they want. But this specific bit that I just thought was funny, like a highlight, is when they're doing moonwalks, okay? Because it's kind of like how they each have a different interpretation of what like a moonwalk is because Darwin thinks of it like a Michael Jackson dance, and Gumball thinks of it as like being in space and like zero gravity. It's like that's not how you moonwalk. This is how you do it. And he's like floating around. I just thought that was so cute. where it's like they have the different perspectives on what that means. Is like that's just fun. I didn't catch it until this time where like Darwin actually pulls that hee hee in the beginning when he like, does a spin and he does the hee hee. It's like that's kind of fun. It's like Darwin dancing to Michael Jackson is just canon in my heart, and it kind of is, which implies that there's a Michael Jackson in this universe, which is fun. But I just thought that was cute. And another like fun, like again, like I feel like this is like what the extras should have been, where it shows like different little stories in their lives. Because in this case, it's just them doing like little things. And it kind of like I think more than anything, it kind of shows more of a more natural dynamic between these two. It's like it's just how they chill together. Like how they have the same sense of humor and how they like have fun together and stuff. Like it's just so cozy. It's so cozy. Even if it gets a little bit traumatizing, where it's like they have like their food fight, but they kind of simulate it like it's a real war reenactment, and then like once they're done with it, they're like, I'm traumatized and I don't think I'm hungry anymore. It's like it's stuff like that that's like this is very endearing but also entertaining. And it could have been like not even to mention Gumball with the fucking laser pointer when he acts like a cat when Darwin doesn't know how to work a laser pointer, that's just funny. Gumball acting like a cat's always fun. But the execution was just great. And of course, at the end, they throw out the wrong bag of stuff, and you know how that is. But this is fun. I kind of yeah, I think this is good. It doesn't like oh my god, this is really blows me away like anything above it. But it's like this is cute. I really do enjoy this. Okay, we literally have the best for last. Shut the fuck up. We got the show. Nah. Who do you think I am? Who the fuck do you think I am? This is like top three ever for me, so I am extremely serious about this. I put my phone down, I don't need my notes, because this is peak. This is the peakest peak to ever peak, okay? Don't try me. If you're not into pinball as much, maybe you just don't care as much as I do, but I do. I care so much. I care so much about that. Okay, enough of me crashing out. We need to have coherent thoughts than just like, this is so good. Like, that's. The notes I wrote for this episode is like fucking nonsense. It's just me crashing out. It's like, oh my god. I'm extremely serious about this because this is just perfect. Like, I think this is one of the most perfect episodes they ever did. Like, it just is. Because even though I wasn't there to, like, see this unfold, I still think the impact time after time. Like every time I watch it, I still feel it. It just feels like so much. Because of course, Penny comes out of her shell, which is comes completely out of left field because up to this point we just thought that's just how she looked. Like no like the thing is no one really questioned like, "Oh, is there something underneath or is that a shell at all?" Cuz we open up with Gumball performing as the Beast in a Beauty and the Beast school play, and Penny is Belle. Obviously has to be like tweaked a bit differently because she wears like a pink dress and a hat instead. Fucking imagine like Penny like in a yellow Belle dress because like the yellow would kind of foreshadow like her yellow shapeshifter form. Oh, they should have done that. That would be so fun. But kind of like I feel like the first half of this episode kind of feels like they're already dating even though they are not. Because it is Penny who decides like instead of doing like she basically improvises them kissing in the school play cuz I don't think it was like in the script or whatever. Cuz Gumball's like, "Wait, there was no kissing rehearsals." And then Penny's like, "I kind of improvised." Cuz she wants to kiss him. Oh, she wants to kiss him, and she's taken this ripe opportunity to do so in a way that doesn't look suspicious to other people. And since Gumball clearly has no experience, he accidentally headbutts her and causes her shell to crack. Because, again, this is the first time we realize that first she has a shell and it can be cracked. But she also states, like, the real me is behind the shell, but you can't see it. It cannot, because she's so freaked out about, like, oh my god, my shell cracked. My dad's gonna kill me. because he doesn't want me to reveal my true form. Because they see like a speck of light that comes out of her crack, and then Darwin's like, "What was that?" And then Penny's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then I find it interesting because like Darwin is also here for some reason. It's like Darwin is here and he does like add to this. It's not like he's being like obnoxious Penny hater. Oh god, I'm not looking forward to revisiting those episodes, but it's like Darwin is being fairly normal towards Penny, like he's trying to help her. And he's like, "What's in the shell?" And then Penny's like, "It's the real me." And then Gumball's like, "Get out of here. Can I see it?" And it's like, I just love Gumball and Penny's dialogue specifically. It's beautiful. Because Gumball's trying to convince Penny to like come out of her shell. It's like, "Wait, can I see what's inside?" And she's like, "No, you can't." Once the secret is revealed or like it's hinted at, they basically are so curious that they're like, "Well, we have to know what's inside." Especially Gumball. Like, why wouldn't he want to know? And of course, they go to confront Patrick because I feel like all the previous Patrick moments lead up to this moment, this episode specifically. And I will die on that hill that this is the apex of Gumball Patrick dynamic. I don't care about other episodes that come after this. This is the best version of their beef, okay? Because when they realize we can't cover up this crack, we have she's like, I have to tell my dad, I'm sorry. It's like there's nothing I can do about this. I can't hide it. And then Gumball's obviously freaking out because he's like, oh my god, he's definitely gonna kill me because low key. And the thing that fried me specifically was when, oh yeah, Patrick says, "Were you involved in this?" point to Gumball, and then Darwin's like, "I wouldn't say involved, more like directly responsible." And then Gumball grabs his tongue and he's like, That's just hilarious. I'm sorry. It's like, Darwin, shut the fuck up. This is not the time to be a smartass. And then Patrick is obviously like, "Okay, you fucked up. I don't want you to be around her anymore," because it's basically the argument of like, I know what's best for her the most, and even though Penny's like obviously like, "Come on, Dad, it can't be that bad," or like, we we've been living in our shells our whole lives. Why can't we just be free? Like, the classic type of tension. And then Patrick's like, no, we're not doing this. So he basically kicks Gumball out. And it's like, you are never seeing her again. Point blank. Similar tension to like the Knights or something from season 2. But this is when it gets like extremely interesting. Like, this is just a journey the entire way through, where the way that Gumball reacts to this is just so fascinating because it's so different from like how he reacts to literally anything else going wrong. It's more quiet. I can't describe it other than like it's more devastating because it's more quiet. It's not like he's crashing out. It's not like he's like screaming or trying to like make elaborate plans to like amend things or whatever. He just doesn't want to talk about it. Because he's at the dinner table and everyone's like, "What's wrong, Gumball?" And he's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And then Darwin's like, he's just upset that he can't see Penny anymore. And then he's like, "I don't want to talk about it." Like, the way he kind of shuts down, because obviously Penny is a sensitive topic, okay? Like, it has been, because leading up to this point, he doesn't want to admit that he likes Penny. He's like some kid and he doesn't know how to handle his feelings or whatever. It's like, it's very important that Gumball, like, Penny is a sensitive topic, like it always has been. Like, it's like his feelings towards this other girl is just a different type of thing than literally anything else he deals with. And that is so interesting where it's like he just shuts down and he tries to convince everyone else that he's like fine. Cause even when he's about to go into his room, Nicole's like, "Are you okay, sweetie? You didn't have any dinner." And then Gumball's like, "I'm a big boy. I will be fine." And then like cut right to him crying on his bed, and it's just like it's just real. This is like real types of pain. Like, I feel like Gumball's emotions in this episode is just the most genuine type of shit. I think some of the most genuine Gumball moments we've ever seen. Besides, like, this is why it like rivals like the disaster, because similarly type of thing. It's just kind of like real and grounded in like an unexpected way because Gumball doesn't act like this usually. But over this his one sensitive spot, it's basically this episode is Gumball being like more sensitive. And it's so interesting. It is so deeply interesting. But of course, we then realize that, well, we see that Penny sneaks into his house. He's like, she has to see Gumball again. She's like, my dad says I shouldn't move to another school because it's for the best. And she's like, it is very important that Penny is like equally as defeated. And then Gumball's like, no, wait, you can't do this. You have to be yourself, Penny, please. You have to break out of your shell and be yourself. Like, I don't want you to basically be like repressed. It's all about like hiding yourself, hiding your true self, trying to present a certain way to appease other people, like all that shit. That's all here. And then Gumball's like, that's bullshit. I think you should break out of your shell and be yourself because you deserve to be yourself, type of thing. So he basically, and Penny's like, but what if you don't like the real me? It's like, you want this for me so bad, but like, what if you don't like what you see? It's like, this is so vulnerable. This is why I'm so obsessed with this, is because it's just like, holy shit, the storytelling has me in a fucking chokehold. But Penny's like, what if you don't like the real me? What if you're disappointed? Like, what if I finally open myself up to who I really am and you learn more about me? What if you don't like what you see? Because at this point, he kind of like has like this idealized version of Penny in his head. Like this like dreamy version of her that's like perfect and everything. Like as he's like daydreamed about her before, we can kind of pull from that. But then Gumball's like, whatever's in that show, we can deal with it together. Because he's basically saying, there's no way, first, there's no way that can be true. He's like too obsessed with her to like back down now, as we could kind of figure out. But he's like, whatever's in that show, we can deal with it together. Because basically, like, I don't give a fuck who tells you this, but I am going to be by your side no matter what. It's like, this episode shines Gumball's, like, good light so much. Like, it's not like, oh, Penny's just some frivolous crush that he has, or, like, he's just infatuated with this girl. He actually cares about her in, like, a mature way. Because he's like, I don't give a fuck who tells you this. You are perfect just the way you are. And I love you for exactly who you are. And I don't care who tells you this, but I will always love you no matter what. When I'm like extremely hormonal, this shit makes me cry, I'm not even gonna lie. And of course, Penny's like, really? Oh my god. I guess you're right. I think I should break free. Like she takes that confidence that Gumball has, like, I know he's on my side. Like, I know he's going to be there for me. And I feel comfortable, like, being vulnerable to him because he's, like, a safe space for me. Like, Gumball's, like, Penny's safe space, and it makes me want to fucking cry. But it's, like, Penny reveals herself as this beautiful fairy. Gumball is literally too stunned to speak when he sees her in her true form. He's just like, you look. And then Penny's like, wait, do I look bad? And then that's right when we can see that she's a shapeshifter, because obviously she shapeshifts dependent on her emotions. Like, she can't control it. And then obviously Gumball is, like, positively overwhelmed at this point, where he's just like, And then Penny jumps to the conclusion that he thinks that she's ugly, pretty much. And all of this was for nothing. She basically has an anxiety spiral, which we'd had basically, this is like incredible for Penny's character development, obviously. This is the best Penny episode. I don't have to argue with anyone about that, but like these types of insecurities obviously don't spawn out of nowhere, because she's been told that this form of hers is so dangerous and like you can't be seen like this. Just for like when she assumes the worst when she first shows somebody her true form. And she basically won't hear Gumball out, like, let him finish his sentence. When Penny's like, I'm a monster, and she punches the wall and she like flies out of their house. And then Gumball's like, wait, no, you look extraordinary. The way he says it makes me emotional every single time. Like, it's just an absolutely gorgeous moment. You look extraordinary. And a whisper of awe, and she can't even hear it. He says it almost to himself. So, the second half of this episode is just Gumball chasing after Penny, trying to convince her that she's perfect and beautiful and wonderful and all the wonderful things, but Penny is just so caught up in her own, like, head. It's basically Penny's caught up in her head. Because she thinks that what everyone else has said the whole time is true, that this form is should not be seen and that no one's gonna like her in this form or whatever, because she's probably had a lot of like inner thoughts about this. Then cue the chase scene where Gumball is chasing after Penny as she's basically trying to flee from him, because she's basically trying to spare Gumball from everything that she is, okay? Because she's like, oh, Gumball, stop trying. How could anybody love this? And it's so hard. That's one of those heartbreaking lines in the show. It's like, how could anyone love this? Oh, my Penny, my girl, my queen. Don't do this to yourself. Penny is like, besides Gumball, like my favorite character. Penny is my girl. Penny is my queen. I adore Penny so much. And this episode just reminds me how much I adore her. She is such a great character. What I think is like interesting is like how this is also the first episode where we see Banana Barbara's paintings serving as like a prophecy, which is crazy because it's like this is the episode you're gonna do it in because there's already so much going on here. But with the scene where he like breaks into the banana house and how Banana Barbara's painting like shows the next scene of him running into Mr. Banana Joe in the bathtub. Not even to mention Banana Joe watching the fruit porn. We're not. That happened as well. like every single scene is just a banger. But that happens. So when Patrick finally catches up to them and he's like, "Oh my God, Penny, you came out of your shell, and Gumball, you turned her into a monster." When Gumball's like doing his big one and like trying to defend Penny, like, "Oh, she's so beautiful," and then Patrick's like, "She's a freak." It's like, calm down, that's your child. And then, of course, that destroys whatever was left of Penny's ego, because that was pretty torn up at this point. And probably one of the most satisfying moments, just like ever, is when after Penny flies away out of shame, it's like to the forest, then Gumball just looks Patrick dead in the eyes, is like, with all due respect, I'm gonna have to tell you to shut up. Don't you see that you are wrong? I know parenting is hard. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's like, when he crashes out at Patrick with his full chest, beautiful. Again, everything is leading up to this moment where he finally stands up to Patrick against, like, basically him berating Penny, because that's what he likes to do, apparently. And it's at this moment where, like, Patrick's opinion of Gumball kind of turns, because when they meet up again, when obviously the exterminator comes around, is like trying to like tranquilize Penny, when Patrick's like, Gumball, go find her, go get her, it's like he then instills his trust for Gumball to do the right thing to like help Penny out, because like he knows like basically Gumball finally proves himself to Patrick, okay? Yes, they're still gonna have beef in other episodes, but I feel like this is the moment where he proves himself. Of course, they meet. This is like my favorite scene in this series. This is my favorite scene. Even above anything that happens in the disaster in the rerun, this is my favorite scene of all time. When Gumball approaches Penny in the forest, when Gumball's like, I was just trying to protect you back there. And Penny's like, yes, I know. But just look of us. What would you think when everyone laughs at us? And then Gumball's like, well, you kind of looked like a big coconut with holes in it before. And then Penny's like, but how can you love this? It's like, again, she's kind of like, it's the final confrontation of like, is Penny gonna allow herself to be loved, or is she gonna be trapped by her own insecurities type of thing? That's not who you are. It's just how you feel. And this is how I feel. And then they kiss. That's my favorite scene. End of fucking story. That's my favorite scene. The confrontation up to the kiss, up to the very end, because it leaves off on a nice happy note. No turnarounds, no pulling the leg. It's just happy. That is the only time they kiss on the mouth in this series. I'm pretty sure. Like this moment is so incredibly special because this is the only time they like actually kiss on the lips. and how Penny, the beautiful detail of like Penny changing her forms, like as she's being kissed, because it's just such a whirlwind, and then Gumball is so sincere about it. It's like, fuck me. This is beautiful. This is just so beautiful. It's like, I will love you no matter what, and I will always think you're beautiful, even if you can't. I will help you learn to love yourself because I love you so much. It's like this, like, ugh. This is like the pinball nuclear bomb of the series, and it's like, obviously, this episode means everything to me. It's like I wouldn't change a thing about it. Like I literally wouldn't. This is perfect to me. It's just like it's beautiful, it's perfect, it means everything to me. Shut the fuck up. So we are ending off on the highest note. We are done. I must say, after like looking at this all together, it's very even. Like it's just what I like it, nice and even. It's like we have some of the peakest peak to ever peak. We have some great stuff. I mean, to be honest, like the even the worst of it, which is not really that bad. Like I really like season 3 and like there's nothing that really pissed me off. There's shit that makes me bored or I don't really care about or whatever, but it's like nothing really pisses me off that much and I think that's a very good thing. Part 2 will be interesting because there are some episodes in there that are going to be interesting to think about. I'm thinking about the bros already and it's making my skin crawl. Anyway, that is it for today. Let me know what you think. And I hope to see you guys for part 2. Bye.